to episode 156 of
The Eldritch Podblast.
I am Margaret.
I am Jack.
Sorry, that was probably a bit of a jump scare, to be honest.
I was like, are you ready? And she was like, yeah. I clicked us in and she was clearly not ready.
I was absolutely not ready.
100% not ready. But said she was ready.
Hi. Sorry, that was loud. That probably gave you a jump scare. Not as much of a jump scare as you give everyone on stream every time.
We click like unmute because obviously we've got our starting soon screen, and then we click unmute, but you still can't see us. So I just go.
And last time, people were like, "You legitimately gave me a jump scare." Hello, how are we doing? Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
Happy players new hand. Happy new D&D. Happy new D&D players.
Well, you can't get it yet, but the details are being revealed.
Yeah.
Like, you can get it physically next month, but like, embargoes are being taken
Lifted.
off.
Yeah.
So, like, content creators are going to be releasing, like, new videos of things that maybe Jeremy Crawford didn't talk about in those, like, videos.
In those interviews, yeah.
Just deep diving into maybe, like, some spells and stuff like that. So, all very, very, very exciting stuff, which is all happening today.
Exciting day for D&D.
Yeah, and then next month we will be able to get our physical copies if you want them.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Very exciting times.
Same. Yeah, agreed.
I am really excited to get my hands in it and look at it and touch it and smell it.
Yeah, me too. If you don't know, our next campaign we're going to use 100% 1D&D rules and see how we feel about it.
You know, like, there's nothing wrong with 5e rules. Well, there's a lot wrong with 5e rules. 5e is not a perfect system, and you do have to do some things to make it a little bit more balanced and a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I think it's a great system overall. Many systems are very good for all sorts of different reasons, but you know, it's just come to the point where I'm like, let's try. It's coming out.
Yeah.
We've been playing this for like many years now. Let's just give it a go.
Yeah, what's the harm, you know? And the thing is, we're the type of table where if we don't like something, we will say, and then we will work on something that we like, you know? We're a table where, you know, we communicate what we do and don't like, and we're very good at like working together to, you know, you as the DM, you're very good where if you try to put in a rule that we don't like, we'll just tell you and you'll respect that.
Yeah,
or vice versa. Yeah. If we ask you for something, you'll be like, yeah, sure. Or you'll be like, no, you know?
Yeah. So, very exciting. We are going to be using it for our next campaign. The campaign that we're currently in is probably going to be finishing close to when you can get the physical copy.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit after.
Yeah.
But then we'll probably have a little bit of a break and then pick up with the new rules.
Yeah. Because
gives me time to learn it and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, we always have a break in between. We always, people do like some one-shots and stuff like that. And
gives me a break, lets me be a player.
Yeah, exactly. Take a little bit of time off, let you scrub that DM brain for a minute.
Yeah,
and
we'll bathe it in some acid.
Yeah, and some battery juice. Yeah. So yeah, exciting day. Happy embargo lifting day, I suppose.
Yeah. Tell me what you think about some of the new rules that have come out.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think about who's your favourite and your least favourite class now.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. Well, you know what? I was so set for the next campaign. I was going to play a swashbuckler hexblade. I was absolutely set on it. But swashbuckler, unfortunately, isn't in. Well, and hexblade aren't in the.
Neither of those two things are in 1D&D. And we said for the next campaign we will play like book.
Yeah, we'll use what classes are in the book. Yeah,
book
exactly.
Things. And I know it's backwards compatible and stuff like that, but
we want the full new
experience. We want the new experience.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. The thing is, I know what class I would play.
Yeah.
And I would be like, you should play this.
What, the wizard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the sorcerer.
Yeah.
Because they both look great.
Yeah, I'm not a big spellcaster.
But you're not a spellcaster.
But Barbarian and Fighter look brilliant. Barbarian and Fighter look really good.
Both look really good.
World Tree Barbarian looks really good.
World Tree Barbarian looks so good.
World Tree Barbarian looks incredible. However, I don't think I could do Rayla like that.
Yeah.
If that came out when I was playing Rayla, you know for a fact I would have been that flavor of Barbarian.
I mean, you can still be that flavor of Barbarian, and you can still be called the World Tree, but it doesn't have to be anything to do with it.
I know, but I want
just be one that's in tune with the earth for some reason.
I really want to lean into whatever the actual flavor of the classes is. I want like a full, fresh new experience, kind of following like the archetypes that they set out, right? I couldn't do Railer like that. So I'm not going to be a World True Barbarian, even though I would love to.
Yeah. I mean, some of the other barbarians look great as well.
Some of the fighters look great. To be honest, some of the warlocks look great.
Some of the warlocks,
because you can go Pact of Blade, and that's essentially a hex blade.
The old one, the great old one,
yeah.
Warlock looks unreal.
Yeah.
The Fae,
the Arc Fae
looks unreal.
Yeah.
The Abjuration, and tell you what, my favorite, the Illusionist Wizard.
Yeah, the Illusionist
Oh my god,
Wizard,
the Illusion Wizard. What the hell is up with that? The hell is up with that? The Illusionist Wizard looks so good.
Yeah, not my thing.
So
but
good.
yeah, I think definitely I'll go melee, probably barbarian or a fighter. Because hey, they seem really good. They seem like they can do loads of fun things, which is nice.
They're just like a little bit. They're just more useful outside of combat now.
Exactly, which was my biggest gripe with melee classes, especially barbarians. You know, you can do one thing and one thing only, but it's not like that anymore.
No, it's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
Really cool.
When we actually get round to doing all of the character creation stuff, me and Jack at the very least will try to keep you as included as we can. We have a Patreon, and the middle tier, the Moon Druid tier, and up, you get our campaign updates. There's going to be a gap in between when we're doing campaign updates for you, like in between the campaigns, which is probably when we're going to start filling you in with character creation.
Like new world primers and things like that I'll be coming up with.
Yeah, we're hoping to get some of our friends in who played in the campaign, so they can answer some questions as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good fun stuff coming.
Yeah, the Patreon link is down below if you want to become a member of the Patreon. Please check it out. Don't feel like you have to though.
Yep. Indeed.
Yeah, thank you very much to all our patrons.
Yeah, we love you very much.
Who keep us going.
Much. Indeed.
We love you.
We've had a few streams with you now, which has been wonderful and good, clean fun.
It has been very good.
Anything else in our lives?
Not really.
No. I'm feeling I'm a little burnt out at the minute.
No.
I have to be honest. I am a little burnt out once again. I think socially I'm very burnt out. Emotionally I'm very burnt out. Work-wise is actually one of the only things I don't think I'm that burnt out on. Although I think I'm overall burnt out. But yeah.
We should play some duo games then.
Yeah.
We should take some time and play some, like, tell you what, until The War Within comes out in a month's time, we could play some Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
You and me.
We could.
We could play some classic WoW.
We could.
We could level through some classic WoW.
We could. The thing is, I don't want to get hooked on something before War Within comes out, because the thing is, we're hooked on Valorant right now, right? And Valorant is a very social game, and that's not the reason I'm burnt out. It probably partially is, right? I'm very audio sensitive. But like, I don't want to get hooked on another game knowing that War Within,
coming out.
The new World of Warcraft expansion is around the corner, and that's going to take up 100% of my time.
Yeah.
So, you know, Valorant's fine because it's the type of game where you can like come in and out of it and it's all right.
Yeah.
But, you know, something like Baldur's Gate, I think starting at now would be detrimental for everyone involved. To be honest, because I can't be normal. I can't be normal about anything.
You can't.
I can't. I simply can't.
It's true. You really, really can't.
Yeah.
And I remember when we were playing WoW last time, and we played it for like 3.5 months straight. And I was like, "Look, I'm just getting a little bit burnt out. I want to play something else."
And I was still frothing.
And Margaret was like, "You need to be able to get more addicted to things.
Come on, you got to get down in the gutter with me.
It's just like 3.5 months. They're rookie numbers.
Yeah.
She was like, "Come on, you can do better than this.
Come on.
I wish you could get addicted to things just like I can.
I do. Honestly, I do. That would be so bad for us, though.
Yeah, like I do get, like I play something for maybe like WoW is an exception because I can play WoW a lot because there's a lot of different classes that you can play.
Not
and
as
stuff
much
like
as
that.
me.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
That's
like,
the problem.
I can play WoW a lot, but like maybe a month into something, I'm a little bit like, man, this is a lot. I wish I could play something else now. I like a little bit of variety in my games. But the thing is, if I have a break, I can almost immediately come back. I just need a short break. I could go back to WoW now easily.
Whereas and that's the problem with Valorant. I'm obsessed with Valorant now.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna stop playing Valorant now, and probably until War Within comes out,
I'm not
or at least until like the pre-patch stuff To be fair, pre-patch WoW is out, but like the events aren't out yet.
Yeah.
The events actually came out, I think, Monday.
I would go on and look at all the talents.
Yeah, I need to be honest. I really need to. I've been putting it off because I don't like change.
Good thing about War Within, looks like Bear Druid is good, which I do love.
Good.
And
Looks like
Bear Druid is one of my favorite tanks, even though it's very simple and quite boring. I just love the fantasy of it.
And you've got the cool skin as well.
Yeah, I grafted to get the really cool werebear skin.
Hey, Beastmaster Hunter looks like shit. Hey, guess who mains that?
You were close there.
I know I was.
But I think we're okay.
I checked it.
Are we okay?
I just checked.
All right, okay.
So yeah, I'm feeling a little burnt out. I just feel I just like to let you know. I like to let you know when I'm feeling a certain way. So if you see me acting certain way or maybe not 100% energy, that's probably why.
Yeah.
But I'm happy and content and fine. I'm just a bit burnt out.
That's fine.
You know what? I think it's because I've made a lot of new friends recently.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else is like this, but I have my inner circle and then my slightly outer circle, and it kind of goes like that. I think I have a limit on how many friends I can have at any given point.
Yeah, like, no, I get you.
I love my friends dearly, all of you very much. You all mean very much to me, but I can only have a certain amount of people like circling my inner circle at any given point before
circling my inner circle.
Yeah, prowling,
orbiting my inner circle,
like in my inner circle at any given point.
Yeah.
Or I just get really burnt out, like
Yeah.
socially, which I think is what I'm going through now, to be honest.
That's fair.
Which is a me problem, by the way, not anyone else's problem. I don't know. Is anyone else like that?
Explain yourself to anyone?
No, thank you. Oh no, I know. But yeah. That's them's the breaks. You know.
Them's the breaks.
Them's the breaks.
Them's the breaky wakies.
How about you?
Just hanging out. Just hanging around.
Just hanging around.
Come join us on Twitch.
Yay!
Every Friday and Sunday and every other Tuesday. It's a great time if you like it when we yap and we talk about things.
Because we do.
We yap on stream. Stream is where we do the yapping.
Yep.
We do a lot of advice on stream and things like that. We do be doing. Do mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Come and join us. There's no obligation to chat. You can still just lurk and hang out. But we'd love to see you there.
Yes, indeed.
Go and check out some merch.
Oh!
www.eldritchpodblast.co.uk. Patreon members get 10% off.
I have a tonsil stone.
No.
Jack trying to do the professional stuff.
Like,
me.
comment, subscribe, hit the bell.
I have a tonsil stone, and I can feel it.
No.
It's really bothering me.
Well, I think the cats do. We go.
I've tried.
Oh.
I've tried coughing it up. Have you seen the TikTok?
No.
You have.
Have I?
The TikTok of the perfume guy who reviews all the perfumes. He yells so loud, the tonsil stone gets dislodged.
Oh, I think I have.
Yeah,
I think I have actually. Yeah.
I wish I could
right.
do that. I wish I could yell with such force.
Go for it. Go on.
So I have a tonsil stone.
Anything else?
No.
Anything else?
No, I think that's good. I think that's it from me.
God.
Oh, well, shall we get into topics?
I think we should get into some topics. Thank you so much to all our patrons over at Patreon.
You have no idea how much we appreciate your support.
If you want to support us over at Patreon and gain access to our exclusive content,
like our D&D campaign updates and our extra monthly live streams,
click the link in the description. More about Patreon at the end of this video. Thank you.
So, as you can see, we are doing D&D Am I the Asshole? All of these are submissions.
Oh my...
These are all submissions, which, if you don't know, it's rare that all of them are submissions. To be honest, sometimes it's rare that we get any submissions at all for these.
Am I the Asshole? Yeah.
But because, listen, 9 times out of 10, you're like, hey, this guy came in and kicked my dog and then shat in my hair and pissed up my walls and then cursed my bloodline. But I'm upset with him. Am I the asshole? And it's like, no.
No.
You're not the asshole.
No. Hey. No.
Hey, of course you're not.
Of course you're not the asshole.
Hey, don't worry. And I think it's a cathartic thing to do.
Yeah,
right?
you just want to say it out loud and you want to hear somebody else be like, yeah, that guy was the asshole.
Which, by the way, yeah, they are.
They are, but at the same time, that doesn't make a great conversation.
Well, no, the thing is, they make great horror stories, but I don't know
horror
why.
Stuff, yeah, but not a conversation about am I the asshole?
Oh, yeah, because
that's the point.
Obviously you're not.
Yeah.
Like, clearly you're not.
Am I the asshole's good when it's like, maybe you aren't the asshole, but you did something that you shouldn't have done, and we can like talk about it and stuff like that.
And you know what? There's been so many I'm the assholes that I've said this before. We could make horror stories, but I feel really that there's something about me that feels weird about taking someone's am I the asshole
and
without,
making it
without being able to contact them first and saying, hey, could we include this in like a horror story?
If you have put an am I the asshole in where you are clearly not the asshole and it is a horror story, put it in as a horror story.
Yeah, and you would be okay with us using it as a horror story. Please let us know. I don't know why it feels. I know you probably wouldn't care,
but it's taking people's stories
and turning them into something
that they're not.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Or at least like putting them in a category that they weren't originally
I do
put in.
Like we have those Reddit stories, and then they haven't been put in as horror stories.
Yeah,
and I tag them on. I have to put them in like categories in TikTok, and I put them as horror stories, and I'm like, man. I always ask you, I'm like, should I do this?
Yeah, I know. It feels bad. Yeah. Kind of like putting a new context to someone's words. So if you've ever sent one in, and you would be okay with us using it as a horror story, let us know. But these are all submissions.
Bum, bum, bum.
We got 5.
Let's go, baby.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
So this has been sent in by Kellen, and she uses she, her pronouns.
Thank you, Kellen.
Thank you, Kellen. Too long didn't read. A player has yet to return to the campaign, and I think it's my fault. 9 months ago, I began playing in my second campaign ever with a group of 11 relative strangers, excluding my boyfriend.
Wow, okay.
Plus the DM. So there's 12 people?
Oh my gracious me.
The group are all new players or they haven't played since the 80s. Myself and my boyfriend are significantly younger by 15 to 30 years than the rest of the group. Anyway,
how old are all these people?
I was very excited and I made a ranger with plans to make her a gloomstalker, and I since have.
Very, very cool.
The DM had us start the first 4 or 5 sessions in a dungeon crawl. Doing this at level 1 was difficult, but we managed and unleashed some extra planar entity in the process. Whoops, lol.
Hey, set up the campaign now.
Yeah, hey.
Now we're going to put that thing back where it came from, also help me.
Some players expressed frustration at not leveling up, but after finally exiting the dungeon, we jumped to level 3. But then, after debating which of 3 towns to go to, we spent 6 IRL hours of a session, walking 4 of the 5 days it took to get there. No one at the table is big into roleplay besides myself and our wizard. The rogue reluctantly asked me what I was doing as an adventurer during our shared watch, and after my character rambled for a while, he seemed to regret asking. Nothing happened on the watches, by the way. On the 4th day, the DM asked us if there was anything we wanted to do before we reached the town. The barbarian said, I want to race the wizard, and so we started laying down bets and did a foot race. The rogue had 40-foot speed compared to the rest of our 30 feet, so without any inhibitors he would win, and the player seemed annoyed that we would propose a race knowing that he would win. Starved for combat, the race devolved into some minor PvP, with characters casting spells and using weapons on each other.
Okay.
I cut his Achilles heel. It was lighthearted and fun, and no significant damage was taken. The rogue's player kept saying, this is pointless, I'm going to win, as the rest of the table took their turns. He didn't see a need to participate in PvP, he was just running. I tried a spell to stop the rogue.
I can just imagine the rogues just run off and the barbarian just turns around and just hits somebody with their axe. And the rogues just run along, and then the wizard starts casting fireball, and behind them there's just this like...
The rogue's just walking. I tried a spell to stop the rogue. It missed. The rogue, now at the finish line, said, I turn around and I mock you, sticking out his tongue. My boyfriend's character cast command with the word being drop. The rogue said he would fall forward, his body crossing the finish line. But if he really did turn around towards me, as he said, it's at least likely he would have fallen over the finish line. There was some bickering and debate, but in the end, the DM declared that the rogue had won. I will not lie, I was frustrated with his uncaring attitude in the most interesting part of an 8-hour session. And in the heat of the moment, I cast Infestation on him, dealing 3 points of damage. This definitely upset him. He became sullen as the session wrapped up, even though he'd won the party's money. The DM even said out loud that nothing was meant to be personal, and no one at the table actually hated him. I talked through my feelings and my choice with my boyfriend and knew that according to my character's backstory and relationship to her siblings and father, she would be fiercely competitive and not know when to stop. But the rogue hasn't come back to the table. I don't know if that's just because of that encounter, but it's weighing on my conscience. The DM hasn't said anything and this player hasn't formally quit, but we've had a few sessions and he hasn't been there. If I messed up, please let me know. I'd hate to be the reason someone leaves a table, even if some of his actions were annoying. I'm so sorry for the long post. I felt the details were necessary. Love the pod. Hope you're well.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think you were the asshole here.
I think this is more so everyone kind of sucks.
I think that one thing that I think should 100% always be discussed at the table is PvP.
100%.
Like, PvP
this
can
is
be
why
incredibly divisive, whether it's just a like little jokey command spell to get them to give you your ice cream. Like, players lose autonomy and they don't like that.
Agreed. Yeah,
and
totally.
you know, when I've seen PvP at a table that I've been at, it devolves into, oh, well, you did this to me, so I'm going to see how much damage I can do to you.
Then
then you do that to me, then I'm going to say how much. And it's just, everyone's like just wasting spell slots on trying to one-up each other.
I was going to say, it becomes, even if it's not in that moment, it becomes something that becomes this long drawn-out thing where, even if it's just a joke, by the way, because you can totally have PvP and it be a joke and that's fine.
Yeah.
But, you know, it becomes, oh, well, this player did this to me.
Yeah.
So then I've seen this.
The gut reaction is
to do something worse back.
I have to do something worse back.
Or they keep it and they keep it to themselves and it bubbles and bubbles and bubbles and they're waiting for a chance to do something to fuck this character over.
Yeah.
And that, honestly, this is why you don't... PvP is banned at a lot of tables. Yeah. And again, you know, if PvP works for you, go ahead.
This is the thing.
This is a clear case of PvP not.
I must disagree.
Oh, I see.
Everybody at the table, barring the rogue, actually seemed fine with him. Yeah. It's like, everyone said, like they said, this jovial, like, fun moment where everyone was sort of like casting spells on each other. Yeah. And like having a good time. Yeah. It's like, apparently PvP does work at this table because everyone seems to just be enjoying themselves, doing things to each other, casting spells on each other, and that's fine. Yeah. But the rogue didn't enjoy that. And the thing is, the rogue is more than within their right to not enjoy
exactly.
that. And the fact that it hasn't been discussed would probably upset me as well.
Same.
If spells just started getting cast on me. Yeah, same. If we hadn't talked about...
And if the thing is, if I stayed out of it, and I actually think that's my point to why this doesn't work for your table, because everyone has to be okay with it. And obviously not everyone was okay with it.
That's true.
And that's my example for why PvP isn't right for your table with this person at it, because everyone has to agree, or at the very least, leave that one player out, right?
Or... is this just not the right table for the rogue?
Which I don't think so.
So that's the thing. So I think I do agree with you. With the rogue in the party, PvP isn't for this group.
Or at least just like don't include the rogue in PvP.
Without the rogue, then PvP is fine for this group because they all seem to just have
everyone
a laugh when it happens.
To be fair, like Kellen says, like it was fun. We had a great time.
The best part of an 8-hour session.
Exactly. Like, and you know, I think when the DM has to step in and be like, don't worry, people don't actually hate you.
You've made somebody feel a certain way.
Totally. And if someone outside of that is picking up on it, and you know what? The command thing, I have strong feelings about casting command spells on other players.
On other players is rough.
Yeah, I have opinions on that, which I realize are obviously my own personal opinion. If everyone's agreed to it, that's fine. Yeah. If this has happened, which it did, without the rogue having any prior conversation, I don't think it should have been done. But
I agree.
Again, that's my own personal opinion because of reasons.
And the thing is, I do think there's a difference between casting vicious mockery on somebody and like saying that
your mom's a hoe,
and them taking like 1d4 psychic damage is different to commanding somebody to do something against their will. Like, taking autonomy away
is a huge thing.
Even in a PvP table, like, I think dominate, charm, command,
I agree,
all are like rough spells.
Yeah, I completely agree,
Because-
especially within the party.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think like
On
with,
enemies?
enemies.
Fair game.
Yeah,
Go for it.
That's what
go,
they're there for.
Go wild.
yeah, and I think to be honest, even the command of drop,
Yeah.
like I think given this context being like, oh, do they fall over the finish line? Do they not? I actually think that could have been like a fun conversation,
yeah.
right? I do think after that happened, just because you were annoyed with him, to then cast another, I know infestation is
Spell.
a cantrip,
Yeah.
but to then, once this has happened and they're obviously upset, because you were annoyed with him, to then cast something else on him, I think that is going a step too far.
Yeah.
I don't see in game what purpose that served.
Yeah.
I don't know personally for you outside of game what that served.
Yeah.
If it served you by you being like, you know what, this person's really annoyed me actually, and I'm going to show them.
Yeah.
I think there is more productive ways and healthy ways to communicate those feelings.
Almost anywhere, I think, is better than this.
That isn't doing that, you
Yeah,
know? And
yeah.
by the way, I totally understand. Heat of the moment. We're humans. We have a jellyfish controlling our whole body.
Yeah.
I get it. But I think just because you say you were frustrated with his uncaring attitude about the most interesting part of an 8-hour session, the rogue made it clear they weren't interested in it anyway, which, is another conversation. I don't think this is the right table for the rogue.
No, 100%.
Definitely not. But to just be annoyed and in the heat of the moment cast a spell on another player, and I know you say you only dealt 3 points of damage. That's not the point.
It's not the point. The point is that you casted infestation on them.
Yeah.
Because you were frustrated.
Yeah.
It's like we need clear paths of communication.
Yeah, totally.
With each other.
Yeah.
So we don't do this.
Yeah, totally.
So it doesn't devolve into this.
Yeah.
This is the last resort.
Yeah.
Probably should never be the resort unless it's a PvP table where PvP is totally fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally.
And then go wild. But I think you were the asshole. I must say.
And I think you recognize this because you say this definitely upset him. And I think any situation where you've kind of intentionally upset someone, you're obviously not always going to be the asshole in that situation. But if you've intentionally upset someone and they are upset, then you did something to upset them intentionally.
Yeah.
And I think in this situation, you are the asshole. Now, do I think that you were the reason that this person has left the table? I don't think you're the only thing.
I think this table's just not right for the rogue.
Totally.
I think just the rogue clearly just wasn't enjoying the game.
Yeah.
Full stop. Didn't really want to do the race. Probably didn't enjoy the rest of the session.
Yeah, and
then probably didn't enjoy the PvP.
Yeah.
I think that this rogue left because they didn't enjoy the game.
Absolutely.
Not because
of you.
Not because of you.
Absolutely.
Because,
not because of you.
You weren't the only person to cast a spell on them.
No, you weren't. And I think I would be lying if I said you probably weren't. What happened here probably wasn't part of it.
I didn't contribute towards
but
it.
You definitely were not the reason.
I think this rogue just didn't enjoy this game.
Totally. So I put your mind at ease there. And I also do have something to say about you obviously were feeling a certain way about this. You talked to your partner, which, by the way, great thing to do. Great
outlet.
A great way to communicate your feelings and kind of get things off your chest. And, you say, she was fiercely competitive and she wouldn't know when to stop. And I think that's fine, but that shouldn't carry over into the party.
That shouldn't, it's like, if you're fiercely competitive, you can make that come across as in your character.
Yeah.
You can make that like a character trait. You can make that apparent with NPCs or with quests or with bad guys.
Yeah.
But when it comes to being like, I do the, I don't want to sound harsh, but it sounds like you're trying to make an excuse.
You're trying to,
for what you did.
You're trying to justify
what
the
happened
action there by being like, well, she's fiercely competitive, so yes, she wouldn't know when to stop.
Yeah.
Because I think that it went too far.
Yeah.
And it's okay to recognize that something just went too far.
Yeah,
by the way.
It happens. It happens to all of us.
It really, really,
happens
really
to everyone.
does. It does. This is a very normal human reaction to have to something that's been pissing you off for a while, and everyone gets heated in a moment. So I hope that it doesn't make you feel bad when we say, you were the ass on this situation, because you were.
Yeah.
But I think that, and I think you're taking good steps to communicate with your boyfriend. You're taking good steps to work through your feelings, and you don't need to justify things. You can just say, I was just pissed off in the moment.
Do you want to know what? It's never too late to just send them a sorry.
100%. Absolutely.
Like, if you are, don't do it if you're not. Like, if you're not, it wouldn't feel right. Like, if you feel within yourself that, yeah, I probably did do something wrong, you can just shoot me a message and just be like, look, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have cast those spells on you. Without knowing if you were okay with them. Like, I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, a true, sincere apology
see you around.
Goes so much further than you would think, honestly.
100%.
But that's only if you genuinely feel like that. And Kellen, you are not the reason this person left the table.
This person left the table because they didn't enjoy the game.
Exactly. So I hope that takes some guilt off your conscience. I hope you feel better after hearing this.
Yeah.
It's okay to have a moment of being mad.
Do it. We've done it.
Yep.
I've done it.
Trust me,
This exact same thing happened to me. Like, I've been through this before on the podcast, but there was a player in our first game who would just not stop casting spells at me all the time. And, like, sometimes I reacted, sometimes I just, like, buried it deep down. And because I didn't communicate, one day they just cast more spells on me, and I just reacted, and like I started doing it back to them, and then I just like walked out, and physically.
It was a really horrible situation.
I excluded myself from my character from the rest of the group and stuff like that, and it was just horrible.
It was a really awful.
That was
situation.
my fault because I didn't say it, but it was their fault because first of all they shouldn't have been doing it. Full stop.
Yeah.
But I didn't tell them that I didn't like it, so at the end of the day, like I should have.
Yeah, I agree. That situation would have been solved in a far
more amicable way.
Yeah, if you had had a conversation.
Just been honest with with about how I was feeling.
Yeah, but it's hard.
It is hard.
It's hard. Especially,
so hard.
It's hard, especially for men.
To communicate with each other.
It is, yeah.
And the thing is, it's like not even just communicating yourself, but communicating to another man.
Yeah.
Without, like, we say this all the time, conversation is not confrontation.
Yeah, totally.
But men take every conversation as confrontation.
Cats, the backs just go up, and it's,
And, like, I just wanted it to stop, and I wish I just communicated that, because then I had an outburst. At the end of the day, if they didn't do it, I would never have outbursted, but the problem is I didn't communicate, so then I outbursted, and then I looked like the fool, and it just felt bad.
Yeah, it was a bad situation. It wasn't a good situation for anyone.
Stinks.
Yeah, so, hey, communicate with the people around you.
Yeah.
You are allowed to feel a certain way. Yeah. You're allowed to be annoyed at someone.
Yeah.
Of course 100%. You are. But the important thing is how you deal with that.
I agree.
And, yeah. But that's a skill. That's a skill
that
takes a long time to work
100%.
up, I think.
100%.
So thank you, Kellen, for your submission.
You, Kellen.
Thank you very much. All right, this next one has been sent in by Crowscarnival, and he uses he/him pronouns.
Thank you, Crowscarnival.
Thank you, Crowscarnival. Hello, cloggers.
What's happening, clogging?
I have sent a story here and advice asked on live streams, and I have something that's been tugging at me for a while now. I'm trying to decide if I'm the asshole. My friend, both of us, are neither. To my friend, C, they, them, I'm sorry if you hear this. This is 4 years ago about two opposing characters, Icarus and Pennymew.
Okay.
I think I'm saying that right.
Okay.
Pennemue. Pennymew.
Yeah.
Crowscarnival has very kindly left me phonetic, so I hope I'm saying that right.
Pennymew.
We have heard about these characters before. Icarus was a character I designed long in advance, a cleric of Eldath, goddess of peace. She had an adventuring party who was slaughtered in front of her, and after that, she struggled with getting attached to people. Mm-hmm. Pennymew was an Asimar, paladin of Bahamut. She was sent out to help keep the Black Curse, a homebrew plot, at bay. One of the places that they thought had been infected was a city called Orbadine. The city my character, in her backstory, lost her party at. I'm sure you can see where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
And just to fill you in, if you didn't watch the episode where we looked at Crowscarnivals before, Crowscarnival did let us know that Pennymew was the person who killed Icarus's whole party, and now they've been brought together and they have to get along with each other.
Yeah.
Just to fill in those gaps. Me and my friend decided to intertwine these backstories, thinking it would be fun. However, it was the opposite. Our characters basically hated each other, mine much more than theirs. It was difficult to accomplish anything with the bickering and wanting to go separate ways. The straw that broke the back was the other submission of my character temporarily dying because of the party traitor. Pennymew took the traitor's side, believing in his redemption, while Icarus wanted him dead, even if it cost her cleric powers. We fought for 2 years, in character fairly consistently, and have partly fallen out of character since then. The campaign has fallen to pieces, and my cleric has returned home for therapy. This was our first campaign. My question is, was this a fruitless idea? Did the intertwining backstories ever have a chance, or was it our execution that did it in? Was I an arsehole for holding on to my character's grudge for too long? Or was Pennemew's desire to save the traitor a strange quest? Thank you.
What was it doomed to fail from the get-go? No, but the thing is, you have to be 2 things to do this. You have to be an unbelievably strong role player.
Yeah.
And you have to be an unbelievably strong communicator.
Totally.
And
I actually think more so than the role play. I actually think the communication
I think you need both.
Yeah. Oh, you need. You need both.
You need
totally.
both.
But I think the communication, especially,
like, because you can do this. You can have two players.
Enemies to lovers.
Enemies to lovers. Yeah, but it's like, or even enemies to friends.
Yes.
It's like, I know what you did and stuff like that, and there is butting heads, but it's like we have to find that one reason why we need to put it aside.
Yeah.
It's like we don't even have to like each other,
No.
but the whole point is we get along for the greater good.
And you know, these kind of relationships, they feel good because in the end, regardless of them liking each other or not, they help each other.
They succeed.
Exactly.
Because of each other.
Exactly.
And it's like it's taking that conflict and making it juicy for roleplay and making it like I'll never forget and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And every time I look at you, I see them and
Yeah.
this like great. But it's just like, but at the end of the day, we get along because it's a game and it's a D&D game.
Totally.
And we get along because that's what we need to succeed.
Yeah.
Sorry to clap off the dog. You need to use that we need to get along because it's a game. But at the same time, you can still have this conflict. Inter-party conflict is a thing that can work.
Yep.
But the 2 people always need to make sure that they're telling each other. Just remember, me and you, friends.
Yeah.
Like, our characters may not be. They're getting along. And my character doesn't like yours, but we're doing it for the sake of the campaign.
Yeah.
And, you know, we might find that reason to get along eventually.
Yeah.
But just remember, all of that is in-game and we like each other. The problem is, you guys have fallen out of game.
Yeah. And, you know, I don't know if that is anything to do with what happened in game, by the way. But, like, you know, the way that Crowscarnival is saying it suggests maybe it is.
Yeah.
And, you know, the campaign's, like, fallen to pieces and stuff like that.
You know when we talk about lone wolves?
Yeah.
Where it's like, you can be a lone wolf, but you only trust the party. And then it gets to the point where it's like, you don't just trust the party, you love the party. And like, you want to protect them from everybody else. And it's just like, the lone wolf finds their pack.
Yeah.
It's like, you can have this at the beginning of the campaign where it's just like, yeah, we know each other. We hate each other because they killed my entire party and stuff like that. And it's just like, but at the end of the day, maybe you grow to understand why they did it.
Yeah.
And eventually it does wither away. And you 2 actually become stronger than ever.
Exactly.
Because of this thing. It's like, you just... I think maybe you did hold on to your grudge for too long.
Yeah. Which is, by the way, a very common thing with situations like this.
Yeah.
With lone wolves. They stay a lone wolf for too... And I'm not saying, by the way, that your character's lone wolves.
No, I'm not saying you're... But I'm just you drawing the comparison.
Yeah. Like, you know... And I think that is... And I'm not saying it's through a lack of experience, but not knowing when to let go of those things. Because I think as D&D players, we're kind of split, right? We're like, man, my character wouldn't be over this. So I want to be true to my character and I don't want to like let my character down by letting them just be friends with this person. But then there's also, but I'm playing a game and we have to get along for the sake of everything.
At some point.
So we have to.
For the sake of our characters, for the sake of ourselves, for the sake of the DM, for the sake of the game.
Yeah.
We need to, at some point, get along.
Well, I went through something like this with Blythe. Without wanting to spoil anything, there was... No, some of you... Avalor's wife, Josh's character, Blythe was like, I'm gonna kill this bitch.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill her.
Yeah.
I hate her.
Yeah.
And over time, I knew I was never going to do that, by the way. I knew that was something Blythe was never going to actually do. Well,
but I think
when she found out it was Avalor's wife, I was like, she can't do this.
Yeah, and I think you knew
Yeah.
that I would write something in
Yeah.
that would make you not want to do that.
And you did.
And now I'm not going to say that this is anything to do with the Dungeon Master, because it's nothing to do with the Dungeon Master at all, but something like that can help.
Yes.
Like showing narratively why they did it.
Yeah.
Or their hand was forced, or they were taken over by this black curse or something like that, and it was them or me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just like, then the other person's like, okay, like, I understand why you did it. Yeah. But I'm not saying that the Dungeon Master has no part to blame here.
Yeah.
But you know that I was going to give that to
I did.
you.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. And you did. And, also, me as Margaret knew I can't have Blythe killing fucking Avalor's wife. Like, my friend, Josh, his character's one true love. I can't do that. Mm-hmm. And I found reasons in game to have Blythe change her mind. Exactly. Right? Exactly. And, just recently there was a big conversation that was had between these two characters. And, I could have easily chosen for Blythe to hurt her or do something in that moment, but I didn't, because me as Margaret chose to let go of that grudge. And, I'm not saying, by the way, that, oh, yeah, I was able to do it. It's a hard thing to do. It's hard to do. It's hard to do. And this was one of Blythe's staples in her backstory.
And as it was coming out that you hated Josh's character's wife, like, you two were, like, openly above table after sessions. We're like, man, when it gets to this point, we'll have to talk about it.
Yeah, literally.
Because that's something that we needed to do.
Yeah, and it was one of these things where on an evening after we had a session, we were dropping Josh off at home. Josh would be like, yeah, we'll talk about it. And he was like, I know if there's anyone who can do it, it's me and you. We can do this. And the line of communication was very clear. Me and Josh, even, for reasons we didn't have to get to this point. But, there was a point where me and Josh were sending messages back and forth to each other, communicating. And we said, when it gets clear things are coming to a head, we will sit down and we will go over what we're comfortable with and what we're not. And what Jack said in the very beginning, the communication part is the most important part of this.
I think it's completely broken down between you two.
Totally.
And
clearly.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
It's like your characters can dislike each other.
Yeah.
Or your character can have a secret that's like massive against somebody else, that they want to do something almost detrimental to their character.
Yeah.
But you need to be able to communicate that with that person.
Absolutely. And, we're all close to our D&D characters. I can understand in a situation like this how it would bleed in to above table if there's no communication going on, which it doesn't sound like there was. And, the thing is, Penemew having that decision to spare this traitor's life, I think if there wasn't any of this back and forth between you beforehand, you may have had a different outlook on this. But I think because the preconceived notion of we're enemies, we don't like each other, we go our separate ways, and then this happened, and that's the straw that broke the camel's back, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I'm really not. And I think this is a perfect example of, if you're going to do something like this, which people can do, you have to communicate consistently throughout it. And you have to agree upon a point where it isn't a problem. Because something like this in a party as well, you also have to consider there's other people
playing.
If this were me, personally, I would be so uncomfortable. And like having to...
The arguing and the bickering. Every single session. It's just too much.
I think it would be exhausting. It must have been exhausting for you. It must have been.
It's like, I get it. And do you want to know what? If it had worked out, it would have been an awesome... It would have been an awesome thing. But it's just really hard to pull off.
So hard to pull off.
It's just really hard to pull off without making everybody uncomfortable, without making each other uncomfortable, without not having the plot drive forward, without like disagreeing with each other's takes all the time. It's so hard to do.
And I can't speak for them, but I would feel like I would have to pick sides, and then I wouldn't want to pick a side. And then like, how would you get any decisions done? I think this is a really hard thing to do without communication.
Good communication. And I'll be honest, probably strong role players. I
agree. I agree. I agree with you. I
do agree with you that the communication
is number one.
Number one.
But I agree.
I think it takes strong role players to do this.
It does. And I don't think anyone's actually the asshole here. I think this is unfortunately just a bad
It's just a breakdown of communication.
Yeah, this is just a bad. This is a bad outcome of a bad situation.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's truly an asshole.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think you did it intentionally.
No,
I just think you lost sight.
Yeah,
and it went too long.
Yeah,
and you didn't communicate when you needed to, and it's sort of falling apart because of that.
I agree.
I don't think anyone
intentionally did this. Right?
I agree.
Yeah. So Crowscarnival, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your submission.
I'm sorry. That sounds like that had. I hope since you've sent this in that. Sorry. Listen, I don't know if you can see him. The dog's in. The dog's here.
Jailbreak.
He did a little jailbreak. He got his foot stuck in one of the fibers of his bed. So
there's a hole in that bed.
He's here.
We've let him in. We don't even mind if he's just pottering around. So he jumps up. He's not allowed to jump up.
I have no idea what I was saying. But
well, no, yeah. Thank you very much, Crowscarnival.
Thank you. And
he did a jailbreak on stream. Remember?
He did.
I went downstairs to get someone from the door, and I opened it up, and he was like,
I didn't even notice it. Everyone had to be like, he's in, by the way.
Jailbreak.
All right. This next one has been sent in by Anonymous, and they use they, them pronouns.
Thank you very much, Anonymous.
Am I the friend?
Am I the friend?
Am I the friend?
Am I the friend?
Am I the arsehole for telling my friend it's not my fault he didn't do anything to participate? I've been GMing for my friends for a few years now. They're all my closest friends, and we usually have a great time playing with each other. However, I've started to notice that one of the players, let's call him Bob, not his real name, has a very passive approach to most situations and actively avoids being a part of them. Our campaign focuses heavily on roleplay and includes plenty of investigation moments, since we can find that combat gets pretty boring pretty quickly. Bob never engages unless another character, PC or NPC, directly asks him to. He does exactly what is asked of him, and then he goes back to standing in the corner. This isn't a case of that's just how my character would act. All of his characters, regardless of their differences, display the same behavior.
Okay.
Wanting to include everyone, I often go out of my way, sometimes even hurting the pacing of the sessions, to give his character something to do.
Okay.
For example, when everyone else was engaging with NPCs and investigating a scene, Bob was just there. So I made an NPC who had a positive interaction with him previously call him to another room to drop some lore that she couldn't share in front of the others. Bob refused to leave the room. I asked him, out of character, if he was sure, and he was. Moreover, he pays little to no attention to moments that he isn't directly involved in. I know we're all busy, so I ask them to notify me if they have to momentarily step away during a session to avoid calling them getting no response, unsure if the person isn't there or just forgot to unmute their microphone. He rarely notifies me and constantly makes jokes about not knowing what's happening or who the PCs are. I put a lot of effort into this campaign, and he knows that I'm quite insecure about my GM skills. So hearing him bragging about not having any idea of the key elements of the plot hurts a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine.
In our last session, the party split up and 3 of the players had their first combat in a long time. The enemies had their own special gimmicks, so it was pretty dynamic and entertaining for the players, even those who weren't part of the combat. Except Bob. The campaign lasted for half of the session, so I then focused more on the players who didn't fight. We had some more investigation scenes, plenty of roleplay, and very few dice rolls outside of that, the normal stuff for us. Towards the end, Bob finally had to roll the dice and said out loud, "Well, finally, I've done nothing all day." Another player mentioned she also only had to roll once. She spent the session in a heart-to-heart interaction, and Bob went on a rant about how the whole session focused on just the trio. Even though the investigation and interactions lasted just as long as the combat, and he had plenty of opportunities to engage. I snapped and I told him it wasn't my fault he chose to do nothing. He had plenty of opportunities just like anyone else. The session ended shortly thereafter. So, am I the asshole?
No.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. Like, the thing is, if, like you said, there's moments where you can see that Bob's maybe not had anything to do, or maybe not included himself, and then you choose to be like, hey, this NPC that you're like really tied in with and has had great wants you to come over and do this thing, and Bob's like, nah. It's like, if somebody's giving you the chance and you don't take it, that's fine.
Totally.
That's up to you.
Totally.
But if somebody gives you the chance and then you don't take it and then you whinge that you've had nothing, it's like, that's your problem.
Yeah, I completely agree.
On you.
I completely
agree. And the thing is, I would get it, like, and at this point, I wouldn't give Bob anything.
No,
because
I know.
every time I try to give Bob something,
yeah,
and Bob's like throws it back in my face,
yeah,
and he's like, "Nah, Bob doesn't leave the room." It's just like, then I don't give you anything, and then you're like, "Well, you didn't give me anything." It's just like, "Well, yeah, because I've tried."
yeah.
But I think the problem is here is a lack of communication.
Yeah.
It's like the thing is, it's
totally.
not you aren't in the wrong. This isn't your problem.
No,
this isn't your fault.
No.
You've tried to fix it.
Yeah.
But I think the problem is you and Bob haven't said to each other, like, I'm throwing you a bone here, Bob, trying to get you involved, and you're not. And I think you keep saying, like, oh, I have no idea what's going on, and that hurts my feelings because I'm really trying here.
Yeah.
And you're like disrespecting that.
Yeah, and like the thing is, I think neither of you know what Bob wants. I don't think that's
Bob
the
has
issue. I don't think Bob knows
clue.
what they want out of the game, and you certainly don't know.
But it's not your job to know.
Well, exactly.
It's not. It's Bob's job to know.
Yeah, and it's
but it's your job to ask.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the throwing a bone at him again, you know, maybe Bob doesn't know that these are bones
being thrown.
Exactly.
Yeah,
maybe Bob isn't interested in them, so is declining them.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know what Bob wants, so you're just going on, oh, well, these players want like this, so I'll try this.
Well, no, you don't know what Bob wants, and then you're getting frustrated because every time you try to give Bob something that you think he wants, he doesn't want it.
Apparently doesn't want it.
Apparently doesn't want it.
And you know, I think completely this is absolutely 100% a communication thing. I think Bob needs to find out what he enjoys about D&D.
I will say Bob is the asshole.
Well, the thing is, I think it's more nuanced than that.
I think somebody like
then again, to go on a rant,
to go on a rant instead of talking to you privately, to know that you have like confidence issues about DMing, and then constantly brag about not knowing what's going on.
You know what? I agree.
It's bad behavior.
Yeah,
it's bad behavior. It's like I don't have a clue what's going on. It's just like, that's your fault, Bob.
I mean, to me,
everybody else seems to know, so why don't you?
Like, to me, this is screaming Bob is not picking up on for whatever reason, the social cues, the in-game cues, the bragging thing. Again, you know, I try to give everyone the benefit of the doubt to a fault.
So do I normally.
Like, and you know, I just maybe Bob isn't aware of how Bob doesn't know how you feel because you haven't told him. You know, like I'm a big believer in people have bad attitudes and they by the way, should work on that. And people can just be rude. But I think in a situation like this, if they don't know, and they keep doing it, and you get frustrated, you can't. It's annoying, but you haven't said anything, so how do they know? I think if
you say that, Bob's the only one who's had the frustration. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, here, it's like if the DM blew up and was like, well, I don't know what you want, Bob. You never get involved. And then, blah, blah, blah. It's just the problem is the person here who's had the rant is Bob.
Yeah. I think if this had been communicated, if how OP felt was communicated and then Bob kept doing this, I would be 100% Bob is the asshole. But because Bob doesn't, it sounds like Bob doesn't know. And, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like Bob doesn't know. How are they supposed to know if they don't know? And I'm not saying, by the way, that the bragging and the ranting's okay, because it's not. That's like that seems like a weird thing to do after the whole session having like a big rant.
Yeah.
But this is what happens when communication breaks
Falls
down.
apart, I know.
Is it? There's normally always a blow up.
I would completely and utterly agree with you. But the thing is, like,
sorry, the dog is.
There's a feeling of communication on both parts here. I get that, but the problem is, Bob's the one who's complaining that they don't know what's going on, bragging about that they don't know what's going on, and then ranting and basically having a go at the Dungeon Master for not involving them. Is just like, but I've tried.
Yeah.
Like, the Dungeon Master didn't go, oh, Bob, I wish you'd get involved and have a rant about how Bob doesn't get involved.
Yeah.
The problem is, the rant has happened.
Yeah.
The bragging has happened.
Yeah.
The Dungeon Master hasn't done either of those two things to Bob.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I agree. I very, very, very much agree.
I agree that there's a breakdown of communication on both ends of the spectrum.
I agree.
Here.
But, you know, if Bob doesn't know that those were things that were throwing the bone, then I can understand from Bob's perspective why Bob's like, finally, I'm doing something.
I think I agree with you. I completely agree with you that there's a breakdown on both sides, that it should be better communicated by Bob and the Dungeon Master.
Yeah.
But I think the only problem is that the Dungeon Master didn't bring anything up, but also didn't communicate. Bob didn't communicate, but then started to bring things up in the session.
Yeah, and that's
in front of people.
That's because of the lack of communication, and this is what happens. It's just the bubbling of everything together. I think the best, to be honest, to me, it doesn't sound like this is the right table for Bob.
Maybe not.
Being honest with you, this doesn't sound like, you know, if Bob's not getting involved in anything.
Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with being a passenger princess.
No,
like,
I completely agree.
In a game, I don't think there's anything, like, if you just want to be there for the ride
and you're just happy to be there,
and just roll the dice when you're asked and stuff like that, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but it doesn't sound like that's Bob.
But the thing is, Bob is doing that
and then complaining about it.
Yeah,
totally. You know, OP, if this is something that you want to fix, I think
talk to Bob.
Just talk to Bob and just say, I don't know if you realize, but I'm trying. And give Bob very clear examples. The example you gave here of the NPC, like beckoning him into a room. Give that example and be like, that's me trying to involve you.
Yeah, give you roleplay opportunities.
I can only involve you as much as you get involved.
As you want to be involved, yeah.
We're playing a game where me as the Dungeon Master, I have to attend to however many players here. So if you want to be involved, you have to take the things that I give you because I try. And even say in here, like, you know, they had this combat, so then I put the attention on you for the other half of the session, you know? Make Bob aware that this is all you are doing is trying to involve him and he's not taking the bait, and then get Bob to tell you what he wants.
Yeah.
I think the problem is Bob doesn't know.
And there's nothing wrong with being upset with people for not paying attention to your...
Oh my God, 100%.
Like, you put a lot of effort into it. You should... If people are playing the game and you've very clearly communicated, like, you know, there's a story here. Like, I'm telling it because I want you to know.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't know or you misunderstand something, just come and ask me. Don't brag about how you don't have a clue what's going on, because that doesn't make me feel good.
I know. And I think this is all a lack of communication. 100%.
Agreed.
So thank you for your submission,
Thank you
OP.
very much.
I hope this gets worked out. Get Bob to tell you what
Bob
he wants. And if Bob doesn't know, get him to work on that.
Yeah, if Bob doesn't know, he can't fucking complain.
Yeah. And I also think, by the way, there should also be part of the conversation that's like, is this the right table for you? Are you even having a good time? Like, we play games to have a good time, and if you're not having a good time, it's
I don't
not
want
the
you
right
to play.
Fit. Exactly.
Like, in the nicest way possible.
Yeah,
it's not because I don't want you to waste your time doing something you don't want to do.
Exactly. Thank you for your submission.
Thank you very much.
All right, this is the last one. This has been sent in by Domiborealis, or Domi, and they use any pronouns, she, they, or he.
Thank you, Domiborealis.
Thank you, Domi. Am I the asshole for not leaving a 5-star review for a professional game master? This is about Vampire the Masquerade rather than a D&D one, but I believe you will still understand the issue I had in this game.
Most probably.
I was on the lookout for a vampire game, but struggled to find one available, as right now the players wanting to play outweigh the DMs running one.
That's always the case.
A professional game master in a TTRPG server I was in linked me some of the game he was running in my DMs, and since I was curious about the quality of paid games, I decided to join one. It was advertised as an LGBT-friendly game that took place in London.
Very cool.
Very much my vibe.
Very cool.
At first, he was really friendly and helped me closely with character creation, and both of us seemed excited. I was looking forward to it so much since this was my first time playing Vampire the Masquerade. First session comes around, and that's where my excitement comes to a halt. I was aware that I had joined an ongoing campaign, but for roughly 3/4 of the session...
3/4?
3/4 of the session, I listened to all the other players talking character about plot things that I wasn't caught up on at all. I think roughly 2 hours of the session had passed before my character even got introduced. It felt like I had paid money to listen to a random episode of a live play rather than a session that I could actually play in. I rolled maybe 1 or 2 dice rolls the entire session. I was so excited to play for the first time, and then this was a huge letdown. After the session, the game master linked his review page and asked if I had any criticisms. I brought it up to the game master. His explanation was that he was trying to give me a feel of the room before I joined and blamed it on the players having party conflict, but said I would get to play more actively next session. In hindsight, I wish I had just requested a partial refund, but because I'm socially anxious, that is a hard ask.
I get that.
I get it. I decided to stick it out and play more sessions, which I actually enjoyed. But at one point, I took a financial hit and I had to leave the campaign. So, some months later, I decided to finally leave a review, and I asked the game master how to do it. He happily linked me, and I honestly wrote my experience and mentioned the bad first impression I had with my first session. I said to him, I hope you don't mind me being honest. I left a 4-star review instead of a 5-star because of the issue I had with the first session. I mentioned in the review that even though I had a bad first impression, I don't think he's a bad game master. The whole review was done like a critique sandwich style. Good thing, followed by bad thing, followed by good thing. A shit sandwich.
Okay.
That's my words, not Domi's. He replied to me quite passively aggressively that I was publicly putting out my dissatisfaction with him in a way that could ruin his livelihood, which wasn't my intention at all. I just wanted to be honest about my experience. He left it off with, most people only leave reviews because they want to help me, but whatever floats your boat, Domi, hope you have a good one. I'm going to be honest, I cried myself to sleep after reading that response. I get the feeling he only wanted good reviews, not honest ones. I'm an indie business owner myself, and I know that lower star reviews can suck, but after paying someone $25 per session for a total of $200, I had hoped for some more professionalism, not guilting me for being honest. So am I the arsehole in this case, or should I just not have left the review at all?
Oh, God, this is so hard.
This is such a hard one.
This is such a hard one.
As soon as it comes to, like, not a corporation.
And then, like, an individual person.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so hard. It's so hard. It's so hard. So, I'll break down the sessions first.
Yeah.
The first session, you should have been more involved.
Yeah, 2 hours of not doing anything.
Like, I understand that there might be things going on in the party,
yes.
But I think as players and as actual human being people, we need to understand that somebody has come and maybe those things need to just stop for just the beginning of the session.
Just a moment, yeah. Totally.
To get them in,
yeah.
To make them feel welcome,
yeah.
To make them feel involved. It's like when my brother comes for a session, or when our friends Jack and Courtney came for a session.
Yeah.
Like, we dropped a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
and we dropped some expectations
yeah.
to get them in first.
Of course.
And when they were in, and we had
then we had
a bit of crack.
Exactly.
Then we could start to just run the normal session.
And that's free.
And that's free.
That's our friends just joining us for a D&D session.
So I do. And do you want to know what? The fact that, like, you went to the Dungeon Master and said that, and they were like, there was things going on, and then you got more involved is good. Now the review. God, this is hard. Because, look, I am a small business owner.
Yeah.
Not just this podcast. We own a small business that, we sell D&D goodies on Etsy. And when we were new, those reviews hurt.
They did,
like,
they did.
Those,
they did.
if something just wasn't what somebody expected.
Yeah, which happens, by the way.
Which happens. It does happen.
We fuck up. We make mistakes.
We send people the wrong thing or the wrong size or something like that.
We've just accidentally sent them like a B grade thing instead of an A grade thing.
Yeah, and we get those reviews. It hurt.
Yeah.
Now we've had like 10,000 sales.
Yeah.
Like you can't please everyone.
No, you can't.
And you need to understand that. And
like a 4-star review is still an exceptionally good review.
You say that on Etsy.
On Etsy.
I know it's not Etsy.
Yeah.
And I don't know what like review system they use. If it's not 5-star, it might as well be a 1-star.
Yeah, I agree.
Like unless it's a 5-star. If you get anything but a 5-star, it's technically a bad review.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, I never give out 5 stars for anything. That's a weird mentality.
No, I totally.
And I'm not saying that you have this, Domi.
No.
Like you should probably, if you have that mentality, you should probably get rid of it because it's bad.
But the thing is, right? that's the whole point of a review.
Unless
you're being paid, which by I'm not saying pay people for reviews. Unless you're being paid to leave a good review, which happens, by the way.
Yeah. What do you think fucking ads are on YouTube
exactly. Unless you're being paid for it, like the whole point of a review system
is, to be honest,
is so other people can use your information to gain their own idea of things. Like when I go and buy something on Amazon, I will always
check
look at the reviews.
Yeah.
Always. And the thing is, like the low star reviews, if it's majority good, it's going to be fine.
It's going to be good,
because people are always going to have a problem somehow. Something's going to get broken in the post. Something's going to get
Nobody's
lost.
going to look at this person's reviews and see the 4-star and be like, oh, well, I'm not doing it then.
Totally.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely.
And go on.
For most systems, barring Etsy, and probably barring a lot of them,
yeah.
like 4 out of 5 stars is still an incredibly good review.
It's still a good review.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing, it's just like, usually people only give, like, I only ask people for reviews if they're going to give me good ones. It's just like, then that's not really an honest sample size, is it?
Then what's the point in the review?
What's the point in the reviews?
What's the point in even asking?
Like, I get it, and I understand that you feel bad, but the fact that you did good, then bad, then did good, and you were just honest, and you gave a 4-star, like, I don't think you've been the asshole here.
Yeah, the thing is, it's the fact he sent you the review page being like, hey, review me. To be fair, you didn't. You went back and then you asked to review him. This is so hard.
It's tough, isn't it?
I can understand it from both perspectives. When you do something, I'm assuming like professional GMing, it's something that's very personal.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to separate your personal self from your business self a lot of times. So I can imagine from this person's perspective, getting a 4-star review after someone was like, hey, can I leave you a review? Of course it feels bad.
Yeah.
Of course it hurts. Yeah. And you don't see the 4 out of 5. You see the missing 1.
You see the missing star.
And you go, well, why am I missing that 1 star?
Yeah.
I get it. I totally do. As someone who has been through this with our small business before, I totally feel it. And, you say at the end, should I just not have left a review at all? It's so hard. I think we have a unique perspective on this because
like,
there's so many times where we'd be like, why have you done that? Why have you left us? Like, and this is like a 1 star. We're like, why have you bothered to do this?
The worst thing is, it's when they have a problem, they don't message you about the problem.
And then just leave a 1-star
And then they
review.
just leave the 1-star review. It's just like, hey, if your mug was smashed in the post.
Yeah. Hey, if it never turned up, let me know.
Just let me know.
Yeah.
And I'll send you another one.
Know.
But you then leave us a 1-star review and then ask us for something. It's just like, why would I want to do that for you?
Yeah. And, I think, to be honest, even like the 4-star review thing, like, I think a lot of people would have a mentality of like, man, why would you do that? What's the point? But I disagree. I think it's really important to give people a full, honest review of what you experience with this person when money is involved.
When £25 a session is involved. And look, I don't know how much, but like, I don't know how much sessions cost.
No.
I don't know how much you charge. I don't know how much you don't charge.
Yeah.
But it's just like spending £200 on D&D. £200 right now is a lot of money.
So much money.
Whatever you say.
So much money.
So like, wanting to just be honest about how much money you spent, I don't think there's anything wrong with that personally.
I agree.
That's 8 sessions. I think you'd have a decent gauge of what you got after 8 sessions.
Yeah.
After probably then multiple hours in those 8 sessions, probably totting up to, I don't know, 50 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
You'd probably get and if you only want good reviews,
then don't ask people for reviews.
Ask people for reviews.
Yeah, totally.
And the thing is, I always say this with the reviews, you either give a review if you have a great experience and you think it was outstanding, so you want to give something its flowers, or you had a bad experience and you want to let everyone know.
Yeah, totally.
It's very rare you do get those 2, 3, 4 stars.
Yeah,
it's
which is like an in-depth thing. Yeah,
it's either I love this,
or I hate this. Totally.
You only review things if you have either of those two opinions, in my opinion.
And honestly, Domi, him messaging you being like, you could ruin my livelihood. Like,
look, my friend,
come on, a 4-star review isn't going to ruin
anything. Your livelihood.
But it feels like it. In the moment, I get it. In the moment, it feels like it, especially if he's new, he doesn't have many reviews, etc. But like, It's not.
It's not.
It's
not.
really not.
And like, just so you know, you haven't ruined his livelihood.
No, obviously. By the way,
you obviously haven't ruined his livelihood. But like I said, I do get it. I get it. Like,
I get it. That's the hardest thing. I get it.
And
but it's like, what does he want you to do?
What does he want you to do?
Just put it to 5 stars and then lie, and then would that make him feel any better? And then I'm like, does he not care about actually knowing?
If it went good, bad, good,
yeah,
and then you give him 5 stars, would he care?
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, would he have cared about the negative thing you said in your comment?
Exactly.
Because it had 5 stars slapped on
is
it?
it the 4 stars?
Or do you care more about the 4 stars?
4 stars is still a great
4
review.
4 stars is still great.
4 stars is still a great review.
Like, do you want to know what? Like, from a consumer's point of view, if something just has 5 stars, I honestly, I'm a little bit like,
Is this paid?
Is this paid for?
Is this paid for?
Like, having a 4-star review in there, honestly, would probably make me feel more comfortable.
Yeah. Like this.
But that's just me.
Yeah.
Like, you might feel different.
Yeah.
About that.
This is a really hard one because the second it's not a corporation, the second it's an individual, I as Margaret, I feel far more lenient, and I do too. I'm far more sympathetic.
Of course I am.
Because everyone's just out here trying to make a living.
Trying to make a living, just trying to get by.
Just
I completely get it.
Through.
I completely get it.
And I understand as an independent person who is relying on this for their livelihood, I can understand how getting anything negative hurts. But you have to separate yourself from it. You have to.
And you got to understand, just as a Dungeon Master paid or not, what you do isn't going to be for everyone.
Absolutely.
Like, you might be A grade, S tier, fucking platinum level Dungeon Master, but you just might run something that's not somebody's flavor.
Yeah.
And like, you will never please everyone.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Like, there's people who would sit at a table with Matt Mercer and be like, it's not for me. I just want to smash like 6 combats a day.
Absolutely.
And it's like, does that mean Matt Mercer's a bad Dungeon Master?
No, absolutely not.
Does that mean that your taste in D&D is wrong? No. It's a subjective thing.
Yeah, it is. It is. And, leaving it with most people leave reviews because they want to help me. That the thing is, if they had reached out and been like, hey, I saw your review. I noticed that it was 4 stars, not 5. I noticed that there was this bit in the middle. If he had come to you and been like, I'm sorry you had this experience. Going forward, I'll make sure I'll take this on board and I won't leave people out. I think that there's I don't want to speak for you, Domi. If I got a response like that, I would edit it, put it to 5 stars, and I would be like, they contacted me. And they've listened to what I've said.
Yeah.
So my concerns for people in the future
aren't there
anymore.
Yeah. But that's a great point. That's a really great point.
But then messaging you being like, you've my livelihood is in danger.
Is in jeopardy
and
now.
People only leave reviews because they want to help me. A younger, pettier me would have taken it down to 1 star. But that's because that's a younger, pettier me. But, there's a way to deal with these things. There's a way to deal with criticism, and that is a constructive, healthy way. If someone's being an asshole to you, which I sincerely doubt Domi was being an asshole about it, like, genuine criticism, if you approach it with the aspect of wanting to learn and understand why it went wrong, I think there's room to improve there.
100%. Couldn't agree more.
Instead of just...
Man, I was just thinking about that time that person messaged us.
Go on.
That person was like the most unreasonable, horrible...
Which one?
Karen. Do you remember that Karen? And then you went back. The thing is, on Etsy, if you reply back to a review, they can't change it.
Oh no!
Somebody left us a bad review.
Yeah.
And they were being horrible about it. Horrible.
Really awful. Like calling us not slurs, but calling us words.
Scammers and stuff like that. Yeah. And like basically they hadn't ever received their stuff.
Yeah. Didn't let us know. Which, by the way, happens.
Left us a 1-star review. They were was like, never received it.
Scam.
And we messaged them being like, I saw your 1-star review.
We were like, so sorry you never got this thing.
Like, if we can send it out to you and stuff like that.
Let us know.
Like, let us know. And obviously, like, hope when you receive it, it might change your review or something like that. Not as like, please, if we send it to you, will you change it? It's just like, sorry, it does affect us, like, with these low reviews.
Yeah, and hey, you paid for something and you didn't get it. And let's send it back out to you.
And then they were like, trying to bribe me, I see.
Yeah, they were like, you're bribing me.
And we just messaged back just saying, how about you just go and fuck yourself? Because we were just fucking done with it. We were like, you're being so fucking unreasonable. We're trying to help. And they were like, oop, let me go and change my review to make it even worse. And because we commented on it, they couldn't do it. They were so mad.
They messaged us like consecutively every hour for like 5 hours.
Why can't I change my review?
We had to block them because they were being so insane about it. And listen, people like that, there's always going to be people that out there.
There's always. No matter what you do, how hard you try, how nice you try to be, how reasonable you want to be.
Yeah.
There's always people who in this world who just want to shit on you.
Yeah. And there is ways of dealing with.
Yeah.
By the way, 4 out of 5, not a bad review.
Not a bad review.
There's ways of dealing with it. I really think if I had got a message being like, I'm going to work on this, I'm going to make sure that this doesn't happen again, I'm going to implement this.
Like, thanks very much for letting me know and being honest.
I would have upped it. I would have upped it.
Do you want to know what? You're right. I think I'd have been like, do you want to know what? They are really trying.
And they've listened.
Yeah. And then upping it because it's been like, do you want to know what? They messaged me. They're being like super, super fucking awesome about it, and they don't want people to have the same experience I did. I'm going to give them a 5 stars and still leave it the same, but just put an edit at the bottom.
Yeah, 100%.
That's a really great point. I think you're really completely right. Yeah. Domiborealis, are you the asshole?
No. I think the way that this person reached out to you, and I understand it hurts.
It hurts. It does hurt. I get it.
I really, really, really do. It hurts whenever it's something so personal to you, and it's just you. It hurts. But there's a way to deal with it. And no, you are not wrong for leaving an honest review. Like,
not even a bad review. An honest review, like, of 4 out of 5 stars.
As consumers, and I'm speaking broadly, not just D&D or Vampire Masquerade. Sorry, like as consumers, everything is so fake. Reviews are paid for.
Yeah.
Reviews are fake. Things are fake. We don't know. We have to have real people giving their real experiences. Otherwise, the cycle's just going to continue, and we're just all going to buy all this fucking dumb
trash
shit that we don't need.
Yeah,
because
100%.
All of these lies, like TikTok, there's I'm ranting now, but TikTok is so bad for overconsumption.
Yeah.
It's so bad. All these people lying because they're getting paid to do it, and we need.
And oh my god, I love it. It's so good.
No,
it's
you
just
don't.
Like, no, you fucking don't.
You're a liar.
You're a liar.
How could you?
You've been paid.
Yeah.
It's like, just disclose if you've been paid. No, like, we live in a fucking age where people understand that you as a content creator
you get sponsored
paid
and you get paid
by advertisements.
Absolutely.
If somebody wants to sponsor your channel, it's just like, of course you're going to talk about it in a good light, and people understand that, but you disclose it to sponsor.
Yep.
Let people make their own minds up.
Yep.
Don't fucking lie to help people make their minds up.
Yeah, totally.
It's so dishonest, and you will not garner a following doing
that. No way.
You will do nothing but tear down your following by doing that.
I honestly, like, we need people being honest about things.
Who is that?
Michaela.
Yeah,
Lashgate. Yeah.
Like,
I knew you were going to say that.
Like, you had something going on.
Yeah, you did.
Do you want to know what?
You did.
Do you want to know what? Turns out you're a complete utter asshole.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Turns out you're an asshole.
Turns out you're a terrible person. But Michaela on TikTok, like, the lashes. Like, the thing is, when you got found out, instead of just being like, look, I got found out, I shouldn't have done it, you'd probably lose a bunch of people anyway. But doubling down.
Yeah, I hate it.
Ooh.
I hate it. And
you think everyone is stupid, and that's your problem.
This is just how the internet is now, and everything is so fucking fake.
I know.
Nothing is real. And even what we do to a degree, there is an element of putting on a personality, and there is an element of putting on the lights, and I put on the makeup. Nothing you see on the internet is real. It really isn't. Like,
it's sat here in my shorts.
No, but
and my t-shirt I've been wearing for 3 days.
It isn't. Nothing you see is real, and I think the problem is we don't have enough of the honesty pushing through to be able to even have a baseline anymore.
I completely agree. I completely agree.
That kind of went off topic a little bit, but
Dummy, not the arsehole.
Not the arsehole. No, God, no.
Ain't no way.
No, absolutely not. I'm sorry that this upset you so much. It would upset me too, by the way, if someone replied to me like that.
Yeah.
And I felt personally responsible for someone's livelihood.
Yeah, feeling like I destroyed someone's livelihood.
It's a terrible feeling.
But you didn't.
You didn't. By the way,
you didn't do that. And the fact that they're trying to guilt trip you into making you think that you did do that.
Yeah,
isn't
that's
true.
wrong. That's wrong.
There's a way to go about it, and that was the wrong one.
That ain't it. So there you go. That's
there you go. That's it.
Thank
you very much.
That's all we got. That's all she
wrote. For being
wrote.
here on this beautiful day with you beautiful people.
Yeah, you know what? We let the dog in. He's just gone straight back out.
Yeah, he's been great.
He has been great. There was a bit of rolling.
That's fine.
But
doesn't really matter.
No. I was worried he was going to roll into the camera.
Roll into the camera. Yeah, the camera might have shaken at some points because he was like rolling around.
Very close to the camera.
But yes, check out our Patreon down below if you want to support us in any way. It starts from £2 a month, or $2 a month? £2 a month. Thank you to all of our patrons. We love you so much. Go and check out our merch at www.eldritchpodblast.co.uk so you can wear this t-shirt for 3 days straight without washing it.
Yeah.
Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I love you.
I love you.
Bully does love you.
Oh my god, he actually really does, yeah.
We've been the Eldritch Podblast, and we're going to see you on Monday. Bye!
And another huge thank you to our patrons for all of your support. A big shout out to our fellow entities.
Hoobs.
Ariel.
Tula.
Runarian.
Arkham Labs Cosplay.
Maddie.
Pepsi Woman.
Luna.
Teddysaurus.
Caspian.
Ryan the Giant 111.
J-Spot.
Ultrafail.
Dallin M.
Sleepy.
Joe Dragonlord 2.
Alistar.
Lawkeeper Society.
Ricky B.
Danny Phantom.
Catherine.
Faustskin.
Azuriel.
Panda Queen Plays.
Xylo Boy.
Lucas Iapetis.
And Luna River.
Thank you again for all your support.
And if you too would like to become a patron of the Eldritch Podblast, check the link below.